All right, folks. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in to this cold and frigid day here in Jacksonville, Florida. Recording this at 3 o'clock. Actually, technically it's 3:01 on my computer, but 3 o'clock Eastern here live on YouTube for you guys on the Fourth Articles channel. First of all, welcome in to the show. If you're listening to this live, if you're listening to this on the replay or on the Spotify version, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed, YouTube. If nothing happens, I don't sign you up for anything. I don't, knock on your door and go, hey, fill out something or whatnot. Don't do that. Don't send you guys stuff in the mail or if you're, call you guys or text you. It's openly free. Keeps the show mostly free. Makes this available to you guys. And we enjoy doing it. We enjoy having a show Tuesdays and Thursdays throughout the week. And how about this? I mean, we are about less than a week away, almost getting close to less than a week away from the first college football playoff game on campus on Notre Dame and Indiana. So that should be fun. I will not be going to those games personally, but I'll be watching them along with you. Should be great. Can't believe we're about a week away from that. It's of course we have Army Navy this weekend. Of course, no upset alert this week, and really no upset alert segment probably until around this time. Probably until next fall, so around August at the very earliest, because often there's no reason to put upset alert, whatnot, on games or bowl games. But we'll predict some bowl games next week. We'll do playoff games, round one. I'll fill out my bracket for you guys, hypothetical bracket. And, of course, because of Christmas coming up fairly quickly, I will be doing some evergreen shows. I'm still evergreen, meaning shows that can be viewed or watched, or really not watched, listen to, watch. Not really technically evergreen shows, but like evergreen clips or small short videos. So I will be recording those starting probably tomorrow and throughout the week, next week until Christmas, and of course in addition to the shows. So keep an eye on those. Keep an eye out for those. Those will debut throughout. I'll let you guys know more of what the plan is going to be a little bit, but have some ideas. Real quick before we get too much further in the show, got two things. First of all, apologies for the Spotify laziness. Those episodes are a little behind, so I'll get one on Mondays, Tuesday's episode, and then today's episode uploaded. So you'll have both on Spotify. Apologies for that. If you're on Spotify, you're listening to this, nothing's happened. I'm still here, but there's been a delay in that. It's kind of hard of having me being like literally wearing a whole bunch of hats when I'm the host of the show. I'm also my own editor. I'm also my own CEO, CCO, HR person. Hopefully I'm getting paid fairly. I'm not. But it's very tough to wear all the hats and have just me doing the show. So if you're wondering if you're on Spotify why those episodes are behind, that's why. So hopefully those catch up today, and tomorrow I'll catch those up. So you'll have those available to you guys at your disposal. And before we get too further into the show, I'm going to make sure the audio is working just so you guys can hear me. So if you hear the feedback, it's like, okay, so it's a little actually delayed actually. So it's not actually technically live as I'm recording here, but look, it's the cheap technology. The service I'm using, by the way, is actually free. So at least for live streaming, so you can have, I guess, as long as you want to go on there. So that's how you'll do live streams. But yeah, the website I'm using, it's free. It's I believe it's called Restreamer, I believe, and there's a paid version you can do individual videos. We're not going to use that. We're paying for a bunch of stuff. Not necessarily related to the show, but that's okay. But we were here on live chat. Everyone's in here. We are supposedly it says three people are watching. Don't know if that's actually accurate or not, but if you're one of 3 people besides, I guess, me logging onto my phone a minute ago, welcome in. So, have a loaded show today. Very, very stuffed show, as they say. Stuffed as a Thanksgiving turkey. Turn the foot there. And how about some coaching hirings going on here? Bill Belichick to UNC, Dan Mullen to UNLV, and Rich Rodriguez back at West Virginia. A little club there for that. I'm very excited about that one. I'll talk about that in just a second. Of course, the big one, Bill Belichick now to UNC. This is actually real. That I was actually going to go live yesterday, but I didn't because I feel like we'll have a show tomorrow. So the reason to do emergency talk for them. Plus, there's some other stuff that need to be confirmed. It got confirmed. It technically confirmed last night by the school. The people like Burt McMurphy, Pete Thamel, Ross Dellinger's of the world got it confirmed pretty quickly yesterday afternoon. So Not to mention there's other stuff going on. Damn Mullen rumors and theories going around. Now that's true. Now he is. I don't think the school has officially announced it, but it's as confirmed can be. Besides the school putting out a Photoshop photo of you, so Dan Mullen to UNLV is a thing. It's confirmed now. Not by the school yet, but it doesn't really matter anymore. So the West Virginia one has been confirmed. So those I will talk about. The Dan Mullen one has not been officially confirmed yet, but who knows? By the time I'm done recording this show and I'm doing the show live, it'll be up, and UNLV have officially said something. So, but let's get to the Bill Belichick thing here. This was confirmed yesterday, like I said, by actually I believe the UNC one of their message boards, I believe their sport pages, even the 247 page actually. Either way, whatever one confirmed it first, hats off to you for doing so. Then, of course, we got confirmed by, like I said, like Pete Thamel, Brett Murphy. By the way, Brett Murphy getting feisty there with Pete Thamel on Twitter today, especially with regarding the whole Dan Mullen thing. But I have some thoughts on this, clearly. I didn't think this was going to happen, much like some folks in the industry. I felt the exact same way. I didn't think this was going to happen. I wasn't taking it very seriously. I wasn't acknowledging what was going on. Of course, the show on Twitter. It's happening. Bill Belichick literally just finished opening his first introductory press conference like 20 minutes ago. I was watching it live for you guys on CBS Sports. Here's a couple of ways this could go, right? If you look at it generically, yes, Bill Belichick, very successful head coach in the NFL, assistant coach too in the NFL for a long time. I'm not grading his legacy as an NFL head coach. He is one of the best out there. And a lot of folks will, even as a Bucs fan, will bring up the whole Brady versus Belichick. I'm not going to do that here personally because, again, we're not really an NFL show technically besides Buccaneers, but I'm not tarnishing Bill's legacy as head coach, Coach Belichick. Him as a college coach, I have questions about. Some concerns just from a procedural standpoint, organizational standpoint. I think Josh Payne put it the exact way I would try to think about it, is what does he bring that is unique than what Matt Brown was doing, or what John Summerall could have brought, or what some other coaches who were mystery candidates that you will probably never know about until 10 or so years down the line when some folks get retired and books are made and you go, oh, man, for that job too. I didn't know that. So what is Bill Belichick bringing that is different? That is unique to the North Carolina job. Because North Carolina job as a job is very attractive. Josh Payne's mentioned it. I've also mentioned it too. I've mentioned it as well. The North Carolina job as a job from the head coach is different than how fans view. Fans view it goes with any job, really. Any head coaching job in college or in the NFL. Well, and maybe mostly college football, the NFL is a little more different. But in college football, it's the job. Now, what the job could be versus what the job has been. So, for example, the big one that Josh Payne has always talked about, and one that everyone's talked about, is Texas A&M. Texas A&M, the job is very attractive, or was very attractive. Of course, now Mike Elko has been there for over a year now. But the job A&M when it was open last year was extremely attractive. A lot of folks, and again, mystery candidates that you could never guess, probably unless you're a big college student like me, who these mystery candidates that will never be revealed. Probably surprise a lot of you. Probably. I would assume those of you who follow this sport closely, maybe it wouldn't surprise you as much, but those of you who are just generic fans, some would say the casuals, you would be surprised. I'm not trying to, degrade you guys, but you guys would be surprised if some of these mystery candidates who have been up for a lot of these jobs recently, or any jobs in the past, 5 years, would surprise you. But the A&M job as it is perceived from a job perspective here for coaches and candidate, you view it as being the future, like what it could be. Like Texas A&M has now won a national championship since WWT. That doesn't mean Texas A&M in like 2 years from now, Mike Elko could be raising, that stupid playoff trophy and winning the whole thing. That's not impossible. It can happen. Hasn't happened yet. Doesn't mean it can't happen. So for any job and any head coaching opening, any big job, like I guess the biggest job that was open currently, it was of course the UNC job. And when like I said, when Matt Brown got fired in my discussion after, went through my reaction to Matt being fired a couple weeks ago, was that the UNC job, they have not won a national title there. So, the prospective coach in the Bill Belichick's eyes, he views himself as you know what, I could be the first person that can hoist that stupid playoff trophy and dust off the cobwebs and get the dust out and rechange, rearrange the trophy case and win not only our first ACC title since 1980, but the first national championship in our lifetime. So that is the perspective that Mac Brown had, and that Mac Brown twice, Larry Fedora had, Bill Belichick has had, and any coach in college football would have. It's what can I do that has not been done yet. And that was the sentiment that Josh Pitt was using for Texas A&M last year, and really for any coach, you should use that because that's how coaches view the job. That's not the way fans view it. Fans view it from the backwards perspective. They're looking for the rear view mirror. They look at it for your history. You go on your Wikipedia page, you go on your school's website, you have one national championship since 1941, or in this case for North Carolina, they haven't won one. Well, okay, just because they haven't won one, it doesn't mean they can't. Like they're not some G5 team or some like FCS team that's transitioning, like Missouri State and Go real. It's North Carolina. It's a job or a place where you have the resources. You're in a good state. In my opinion, the ACC is a fairly decent conference. Now, the playoff committee and how they view it, and how some other national types view the ACC, I don't care. That's their opinion. I think the ACC is a decent enough conference, and there's a gap there with Clemson, Florida State last couple years, not this year, but there's Clemson. There's a bit of a gap between the other programs that have not gone for Clemson. Now, make the argument for SMU, folks. Person that made an argument for FSC. I still think FSC could get back to that. What happened last year is not a diamond on Mike Norvell, and they get fired or anything like today or anything. And now obviously it's different getting the next year is competitive and job security pressure there, but it's the attractiveness of the job. It's hard to explain this. And like us as fans, and for a long time, me as a fan before I got into this, or really I started watching the show like Three and Josh Pate, only viewed jobs as a history or the Wikipedia page, or like watching, if there's such a thing as the College Football History Channel. There was like a special on North Carolina football. You go, man, North Carolina football, boy, they used to be so good back in when Mac Brown first got there, maybe a couple blip years of Larry Fedora and whatnot. That's really been just a bunch of garbage. Well, that's not the way again coaches view it. Coaches view it from what I can do in the future. Like what can I bring to this program and rise up the capabilities it can have, and potentially do something that's never been done before. So that's the way I think Bill Belichick is viewing it. Bill Belichick is viewing this as an opportunity to not only get into the college football world, the world he's really been at, but also bring something to North Carolina as I've been there before, which is winning national championships, competing in ACC champions, and actually getting there and winning it. That's something that has not been done before. And can he do it? I don't know. I mean, it's the old, Tom Ferrari quote. Good guy for you, North Carolina. I don't know how it's going to work out. Truthfully, I don't know how it's going to work out. I have my concerns about it. I think it may have been something that I also brought up on Cover 3, and maybe Danny Cannell too, about, there's only three avenues this can go, right? There's the Jim Harbaugh route. Maybe also mentioned this too on. But my concerns are there's two ways this can go with Bill Belichick. It's the Jim Harbaugh route, where you have success, you win a lot of games, and sure, Harbaugh or some other different circumstances there, but generically, you win a lot of games and have some success, couldn't get over the hump of your biggest rival, finally do it, give him some time, then you usually see him, win the national championship and then move on, or could it go the Herm Edwards route, which was a very dark time for Arizona State football towards the latter half of their time there. Think about the final year when he was fired last year, now of course, and Kenny Dillingham literally had to do the whole thing from scratch with some bare hands, really just fully restore the program. But that is my concern though with anytime you bring in an NFL head coach again, it can't be this brighter, more cheerful path, the Jim Harbaugh path, or it could be the Herm Edwards path where organizationally, I'm not even talking about the NCAA stuff, but that's a whole separate issue. But from what I've heard from guys like Bud Elliott and Josh Pate, from the sources they have, just from an organizational standpoint, the place is a mess. Like, it was horrible, okay? Just organizationally bad, culture was bad. They were not recruiting very, very well. I mean, heck, Jenny Daniels leaves, and then his locker gets trashed. Like, stuff like that makes you, I think, hindsight 2020, but it makes you wonder, man, how bad the culture really was. Again, I don't have the same sources known those guys have, so I don't know what was really going on. But from hearing from Bud Elliott and those guys who are on, well, Kirk 3, 4, 7, and then based on what I saw from 10,000 foot perspective, culture there organizationally was not good at Arizona State. So again, there's two paths to it. The Bill Belichick experience could be from Edwards' experience at Arizona State, where you'll have some success, but culture gets run and goes sideways, and who knows what else happens. Or it could be the Jim Harbaugh experiment. There's two ways it can happen. Look, man, there's a lot of rumors about Stephen Belichick, who is with Fish right now. I actually it's, over at Washington, it's Jeff Fish, and Stephen Belichick is the EC. He was, working Bill Belichick's side. He was with the Patriots for a long time, for a number of years. Also, there is Pete Carroll's son, I believe. If that's right. Something related to him. I'm pretty sure it's his son, but see what moves there. I'm sure, during this press conference, Belichick mentioned again the staff, obviously mentioning some stuff about the playoff. Now there might be some coaches that they're going to go after that are not going to be available right now because they're in the postseason. You can confirm that Fred Kitchens, the former Browns head coach, is going to be there. Former Alabama player, I believe. I think that's where Freddie's from the college there, but he's sticking around. So that's the one holdover from the staff, and we'll see what the rest of the staff looks like. I'm going to give him Belichick benefit of the doubt. But again, in the words of Tom Fornelli, get hired for North Carolina. I don't know how it's going to work out. There's two paths, but I don't know which path it's going to be. Obviously, it's going to be. I don't have. I'm not Doctor Strange. You can look at 25 million possibilities and find one that's the only way. But yeah, North Carolina hiring Bill Belichick again. I'm interested to see how this is going to work out. I'm interested to see what does he bring that is unique. Because Josh Pate talked about it on Tuesday about the reports about Belichick bringing in this like 400-page symposium or what was it the name for it, like the Bible or whatever about his plans for football. Like most coaches, most people already do that. Like it's not it didn't surprise me. Like that's not like breaking news or anything. I do agree with Pate though. Yeah, what does he bring that is different? Like, what does he bring that is so unique that would draw North Carolina's attention to it? Because there's some names. There's some names that are public out there, like John Stumble. I believe Tony Reese's name has been thrown out as publicly, the mystery candidates that are out there. But I can guarantee you there were other names in this search that you will never know the name of unless, 10 years down the road, some person writes a book and they ended up, they have the right names. It's been a long time, and some of them associated with the program aren't around anymore. They're trying to see in 10 years what names were considered for this coaching job. And there's boards that are publicly out there. I have my suspicions. I don't know it for sure. I don't have people emailing me or calling me on my phone, which is right next to me right now, that have told me that they were mystery candidates and I know their names. I'm just telling you based on what I have observed over the past 4 or 5 years after watching a lot of these shows. There are mystery candidates out there that you will never know were up for this job that will not be revealed until 10 or 15 years down the road. It sucks, but just as someone who is in the in public relations and this communication, I understand why that's the case. It's kind of important because it's the threat of getting sued and whatnot, potential lawsuits. So it's in the best interest that doesn't happen. And you never know those names until, again, you give permission to do so. But interested to see what happens here, Bill Belichick. Very interested to see what was attractive for UNC to hire him. Like, what is unique? What is something unique that he's bringing in there, and also what his staff's going to look like, and what players he's going to bring in, and what's the system going to look like. And of course, we don't know that for sure, but we can only think here. Was even the last coaching search. Coaching hire, and we're going to go over. I mean, there's 2 other ones that have happened, both very significant. But because the shows are pretty lengthy, a lot of news here. I'm looking at my Google Doc. We're going to be on here for a while. So, and with that, I'm going to get some water real quick, and then we'll move on to the 2 other hirings ever made from within the past 24 hours or so. Back here again, nothing happened in the audio. Just gonna make sure the voice survives here. I think it will, but on the safe side. Dan Mullen is now not officially hired by UNLV, but it's as official as it can get. This is something that was bubbling beneath the surface. Of course, Dan Mullen, former SB State head coach, is Dan Mullen disciple, has kind of been around for a while. Was at recently UF, was at the ESPN studios for a couple years. Matt Berry and Joe Galloway, they were doing the Thursday night games, and I guess Dan is no longer an employee at ESPN now, but who knows? There's always a seat for him probably when he's no longer coaching. I have some thoughts. I won't spend too much time on this, but there is a thing in college football in general. This sort of thing I've noticed over the past couple of years, especially with Phil Heck, right? Dan Mullen, end of his career at Florida, end of his time at Florida, 2020 season happened, right? Sort of going back in time sheet here. So Dan Mullen ends up, the reports and rumors start coming around. I think Josh Boone brought these stuff back in the day, which was like 2 years ago, so it's not that long ago. A couple years ago when this was going down, Dan Mullen was up for the Jets job, New York Jets job. He was a candidate for the job. There were some reliable people that told, people like Josh Pate, who I was watching his show back then, it was, I Want You. But Josh Pate's show back in the day, he mentioned, how Dan Mullen was interviewing for the Jets job and he didn't get it. I'm not getting it. I went to Robert Saleh. The feeling was that Dan Mullen just was like, okay, I was going to leave anyway. I have nowhere else to go. May as well just go here in Florida, coast, and see what happens, and maybe they'll fire me. I'll move on. So basically, just treating it like it was a senior in high school. Just didn't care anymore. Senioritis, and I went on cruise control. And the Florida program just kind of, went down by the wayside and kind of crumbled in front of them, and he ended up getting fired, and now they have Billy Napier, and things are looking to be improving a little bit, slightly, at least to the general public. I think there are some changes here that are in positive sense. But the thing about Dan Mullen, what I think he did was really smart, was he took some time off. Josh Pate also brought this up too. I don't know why I'm referencing Josh Pate, but I'm a big fan of his, by the way, if you're new here. But something that he brought up too, Josh brought up, it's this whole thing. What Dan Mullen did was so smart. And I totally agree with Josh on this one, that when Dan Mullen went to ESPN, that's what Kevin Sullivan should have done. And Kevin Sullivan, if you don't remember, someone paying was at Texas A&M and Johnny Manziel for first year at Texas A&M. He was the coach there. He got fired. Went immediately to Arizona, wasted Khalil Tate, and he got fired after 3 years. Dan Mullen did what Kevin Sullivan should have done, which is take a break, just take a breather. You have your buyout money. You can, relax a little bit, kind of simmer down a little bit, go on TV or whatever, and go into the broadcast booth for a little bit. If you don't like it, you can always go back to the coaching. That's what Dan Mullen did, and I think Dan Mullen did this perfectly. He waited for the right moment. He didn't jump at the Purdue job a couple years ago, or the freaking Syracuse job, or the Auburn job last year, or the Mississippi State job after Zach Rennie got fired. He didn't do that. He just waited patiently until the right opportunity, that being University of or UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Didn't think I'd ever see those words about associating with Dan Mullen, but it's a big gamble. I'll tell you that. It's a big gamble because, there's some things about Dan Mullen that you have to be concerned about. Again, the lack of recruiting, some of the quirkiness that comes with him, wearing a Darth Vader costume. Now, a lot of people have issues with it. I didn't because I'm a Star Wars fan. I think that was pretty funny. Dan Mullen's a big fan. At least I think he's Darth Vader costume. Very piece of cultural stuff there. But there's some quirkiness there. I think what you'd have with Dan Mullen that's coming in, some time off. Not like what Kevin Sullivan should have done. I fully agree with there. I think Kevin Sullivan did himself this to get back to Texas A&M, jump back in, got back into coaching immediately after, and then you saw what happened. Just wasted a Khalil Tate's career and ruined him. Arizona football got cratered after shaves it, and now it is what it is now. But Dan Mullen did this work. Dan Mullen waited. Could have gone anywhere again. Could have gone to Purdue a couple years ago when he opened up the first time after Jeff Brom left. Could have gone to Syracuse. Could go on there. We're going back to Mississippi State last year after Zach got fired. They did. Patiently waited, slow down, buy out money, live off it for a little bit, think about it. They don't like the booth anymore after a couple of years. There's always avenue to get back in. He did the right thing. At least in my opinion, he did the right thing, and all of our folks in this tree completely agree with me, or at least I agree with them, that I think he did the right thing. I think him going to UNLV opens up a lot of possibilities. Because the G5 team, the Mountain West is changing. Of course, if you didn't know or realize this, I'm sure public hasn't followed this, but if you're a college football sicko like me, you know that a lot of those teams are leaving for what's left of Pac-12, I guess. And now you have Illinois coming in, which makes no sense at all. Of course, a Mountain West team that is located in Northern Illinois and DeKalb, Illinois. Like that perfectly makes sense, guys. Good job. You guys got the assignment down correctly. Sounds like some folks in these conferences in geography, but of course, geography doesn't matter anymore. You just throw it away, water the ball, and throw it in the dumpster, I guess. But again, I think Dan Mullen made the right choice here. Again, it's a G5 team. It's a grand, sort of a restructured conference. It's a very interesting place to play at in Las Vegas. Hopefully, there may be some, stuff of NIL, maybe some influence here, especially, the work that Mariota did there. Let's not forget that Mariota, Purdue now, leaving a very interesting blueprint there and a very interesting to carry on if you like. But yeah, very interesting to see what Dan Mullen does over there, and I think he did the right move. And I think what I'm trying to say here is that I think, or at least I hope, any coaches get fired, like Scott Frost, also, I think did this pretty smartly too. Right, he didn't necessarily go after the next big head coaching job after he got let go from Nebraska. He waited and waited, and now here he is. And yeah, both him and Dan Mullen, I think, are what college coaches should be doing. Fired, Vandy jobs. I think Brian Harsin too. Brian Harsin, I'll speak that up. Brian Harsin did the exact same thing. He waited, got another job. He didn't waited, and now here, University of California. Now more bound by the Calgary and you'll be the OC there. Those three guys, Harsin, Frost, and Mullen, what most coaches should do. You don't have to always jump at the next opportunity to go to the job. Like you don't have to do what Malzahn did or some other coaches end up just getting back quickly and it didn't work. Because I think what happens is guys end up failing, and particularly in some cases Malzahn a little bit, is that they don't learn their lessons. They don't learn anything. They don't let sort of step out and recover, because again, what happened with Frost at Nebraska, why I'm so fascinated to see what he does now back UCF again for a second time, is what lessons has he learned between getting fired after Georgia Southern loss and now being reintroduced at UCF. Very fascinating to see what he's learned since then. For a couple of years, he's not been coaching at a head coaching level. So, same with Dan Mullen. I'm interested to see what lessons he's learned since he got fired from Florida. Now he's had some time off at the studio, live off the buyout money. Now here he is now coaching again in the G5. So very fascinating to see what he can bring there. You're going to have a good offense there. I imagine there'll be a very attractive place in the portal too. Like again, that's Las Vegas, and you make the jokes. There, the gambling there, and it's middle of nowhere, it's middle of the desert, very very high tourist attraction area. I'm sure the NIL will have enough resources there. I'm sure play at the Raiders Stadium, the Death Star. So you'll have a very attractive place. Mariota won there. There's the blueprints already been sort of played out. There's a bit of a legacy there to carry on there. So hats off to Dan Mullen. Hats off to him. Very, very happy to see him back in coaching. Look, a lot of people have their own thoughts on him personally. A lot of folks didn't like the way he carried himself at Florida. Again, going back to the whole thing with the Darth Vader costume, and he viewed him not getting the Jets job and saying, "Screw it, I'm going to stay here until they fire me," and let this thing dry out. And not to mention the Cam Newton stuff, and Cam going on Shannon Sharp's podcast saying how Dan Mullen and his wife were a big factor in the story, and payment stuff. And, my response to all that, well, especially the Cam, like, okay, well, Cam, you definitely got the bag. You got the massive paycheck from Auburn, so. But Happy for Dan. Again, he's not a fan of the program. He's not coming on later and going to have one-on-one for me for my computer or via my computer. I'm going to show up to my apartment, at least I think. Should probably check what's in my room. But yeah, very happy for Dan Mullen. I'm excited to see what he does here. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I can tell you this: you're going to have a lot of fun if you're a UNLV fan living in where you should. I can guarantee you're going to have a lot of fun there. Lots of explosiveness on offense. The last coaching hire I did want to touch on here real quickly is West Virginia has a new head coach. Who is it? Is it Jimmy Chadwell? Nope. John Summerall? No, he's at Tulane. He's staying. Matt Campbell? Nope. Matt Campbell's staying. Got an extension too. So congrats to golf clap for Matt Campbell in Iowa State. If you hear those names, it's Rich Rodriguez. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Yeah, he was the coach there 17 years ago. This is huge. This is huge. As someone who sort of grew up now, again, I wasn't really into football in like the 06, 07, 08, so I don't remember too much of the Rich Rodriguez, Pat White era of college football when he was in West Virginia and they were dominating the East. And then it gets announced a couple years later, oh man, we're going to the Big 12 and and so on and so forth. And West Virginia football ever since Rich Rod leading to go to Michigan, and I was looking back at it, horrible fit, just gross, horrible. Just thinking about it. If you're a Michigan fan, like, but thankfully you were able to recover from that somehow. It took you a while, but of course, Rich Rodriguez goes to Arizona, runs into issues there off the field, ends up taking some time off, and then goes back to college football and goes to, I believe it was at Ole Miss for his final year, and then goes to Jacksonville State, and now here he is back at West Virginia. So the circle's now complete now, as they say. Just glad he's back. I think when you think of West Virginia football, of course, everyone thinks about Pat McAfee, and I guess I'll go the rest of the stuff about Pat McAfee and how much of a role he played in this. And my honest opinion on that is, like, I don't care. Like, Pat McAfee's, I don't have a problem with him. I think he's great. Did he have a role in this? Did he probably funnel in some money in here? Was he sitting in those meetings? I'm sure he was. I can guarantee he was. I don't have a problem with his money. It's his own water. He's like the face of the football house. Like, why would you not? Like, right? I mean, like, if you have a good resource, you have a good source of representing your university, you should use them. And I think they did use them, and I'm pretty back here. Why wouldn't he? I'll be surprised if he did. So that's my that. Like, I don't know, like, McAfee, that's a little matter. So he can do whatever he wants. He's representing university, and he's like the biggest celebrity from there. It's like, why does it matter? I mean, it's his money. He's not going to not donate and not, try to pony up and get the best head coach available, who was the best head coach in West Virginia football history, the guy he used to play for, the guy that had so much success there. And I understand that things go weird there towards the end, the 07, them losing to Pittsburgh. It was like a 4-win team at the time, and lost the opportunity to make it to national championship. They go to the Fiesta Bowl and they win it. But I'm glad he's back. I'm glad Rich Rod's back. I'm glad that he's finally back someplace where he never should have left. We can all say that. I'll agree with that. You should never quit the Michigan job. That was a mistake. Goes to Arizona. Had success at Arizona, too. It wasn't like things were necessarily crumbling. Yeah, I mean, it got kind of weird off the field stuff. Maybe some of the project field started to slip a little bit, but was successful in Arizona. Actually did a fairly decent job there. I recall he even went like the Pac-12 championship game a couple times, I believe. There, them in Arizona State. So, I remember specifically the best moment of the Rich Rod era at Arizona was when they beat Oregon in 2013. Oregon one lost team. They, I believe, only lost to Stanford or going down there. And yeah, like players, I think it was just talking about when the punch our team in the Rose Bowl, and then they go turn around, they get blown up Tucson. So I remember that vividly watching that 11 years ago, but I don't like that. But yeah, that's the memory I have of that game, the Rich Rod era there, how much success they had there. And of course, they beat Oregon the year after that too, I believe, on a Thursday night. So him going back to Michigan is huge. Not only is it he should have never left there, but he's going to bring stuff in there they have not had there, which is energy, a good offense to run a fun offense. If you again, you're a little too young to remember, kind of like me, who were able to live, where we live, or I guess, or rediscover the Rich Rod offense there, how fun it was and how unique it was. Front option, stuff things you see now in college football that are just, staples now, right? Like the plays and stuff you run in college football 25, or at least the dumbed down versions of it. We all know that they're not the real versions because, why would you do that? But at least the concepts and stuff you see in college football 25, the video game, like the spread option and the best offense, all that stuff. The godmother of that was really guys like Rich Rod, 2010s Gus Malzahn. Those are the guys who really created. I think, Rich Rod is really the godfather of that. And Chip Kelly, probably the ones who really revolutionized the spread option stuff. So if you're a West Virginia fan, you remember that, go watch those highlights. Go on YouTube, go back in the archive, and really look up, Pat White offense highlights or West Virginia highlights, or even, heck, go watch Jacksonville State highlights. Go watch Ole Miss in 2019. If you want to see what that looks like, go watch that. I think, hot take here. I think John Rice Plumlee was a highly underrated player at Ole Miss back when he was there with Rich Rod. Fun to watch. Of course, back to the game, one particular game you want to watch, if you're a West Virginia fan, go watch the 2019 LSU game when LSU, Drew Burrow and LSU go there. And I'll tell you, if you don't really watch that game, then there was a serious chance that Ole Miss would win the ball game. Like, Ole Miss was swinging off the lanes, and that Rich Rod offense was, John Rice Plumlee and them, they're running all over the place. Close game until LSU started to pull away finally. But if you want to know what the offense looks like, what the type of caliber athletes that you're going to have at West Virginia, at least at disposal to, go watch that 2019 LSU Ole Miss game. Again, granted, it was 5 years ago, and it's a very obscure game, but go look at those highlights. It's a very fascinating game. It shows you just what the potential could be if you have, of course, the right type of quarterback or a running guy. I'll about the portal stuff here in a little bit. But very excited, very happy that we're back in West Virginia. Should have ever left there, should have just stayed there. I mean, just imagine this. A little what if here, we'll move on. What if Rod never left West Virginia? They continue to adapt on offense, continue to bring in good players, stay at West Virginia, eventually move to the Big 12. How would it have been? How different would it have been for Michigan? That's another, of course, the butterfly branching timeline effect. How much stuff will really change for Michigan and Arizona football. But just that one thing. Rich Rod never left West Virginia, didn't go to Michigan, and ended up being a disaster, and ended up being just a horrible hire. Or at least not a horrible hire, but just a horrible fit. What if he actually stayed at West Virginia? What if he actually built something? And I think eventually he would have maybe left. Of course, the whole Bama thing, and him being tied to that job. Of course, Stephen got there, and he ended up pivoting to the Michigan job. Yes, people forget too that Rich Rod was going to be the head coach at Alabama before supposedly his wife said, "Nah, I don't want to live there. Let's not go. Let's go to Ann Arbor, Michigan instead. Why not?" But, yeah, it makes me wonder. Rich Rod never left Virginia and just stayed there. How different the Big 12 would have looked with him being there, and Texas football would have stayed the same. The women struggling still, and all the women. Still the power out there a little bit, and then you would also would have had, Arbor Isles too, pre-scandal and whatnot. So interesting little what if there. But yeah, Rich Rod back at West Virginia. Should have never left there, and that is a hire that I'm very excited about. Very fascinating to watch, and I'll be a fan. And guarantee you this, I can guarantee you that College Game Day, or at least Pat McAfee, will be broadcasting a lot for my Morgantown. I can guarantee you that. Which is not a bad thing too. I've always been a interesting observer of West Virginia football. Always thought that they should have always been a little bit better than they should have been, and I think Rich Rod being back is great. Very great sport. Great for especially for those of you who are too young to remember what West Virginia was in the mid 2000s, especially 07, 06. And they're really good 08, but right left. But again, I don't remember that, but I relived it through videos on YouTube to where it was incredible. It was a really, really fascinating thing, a special thing that he had going there, and I'm glad he was able to now properly continue it. And we'll see what can happen there. And look, I really touched on the whole Neil Brown thing. Look, Neil Brown is a good coach. What he did at Troy should not be ignored. What he even did at West Virginia to a certain extent. Winning 9 games last year on the hot seat. He saved himself every year. But Neil Brown will be fine. I think he'll be fine. Like, if advice Tim is watching, I'm sure he is, sarcastically. take some time off. You don't think he's back in the coaching now. I don't think he's anywhere right now. He's available, but I don't think he should be back in the coaching. I think he's just waiting to buy out money. Your jobs in the future you'll be able to take. You'll have success. I guarantee you that. West Virginia is just a hard place to win at. With someone like Richard, who is a alumni there, much like Pat McAfee is. I think I have it on good authority that he'll be able to get some things out there and get some excitement back in Morgantown for sure. So after the little coaching hiring section, that's took up 40 minutes. Gee, that's a long time. But let's get the water real quick. The show's not over, by the way, at all. The show's not over. We still have a long way to go here. Definitely not going to be a 54-minute show like it was on Tuesday. So I'm not going to take a water break. But transfer portal update here, a little update. We'll move on to some Marvel news and some Star Wars news. Buccaneers Chargers preview. We'll wrap up the show. So we'll have that when I get some water real quick. Like I've always said, make sure, especially when you're doing long form podcasting, especially what I'm doing right now, which is doing like about probably an hour long show. Make sure you have water with you or some sort of beverage. I'm not Josh Pate, so I don't have Zevia sponsor or any sponsor though. For my friends who are 21 over, like myself, would like to have a Yuengling sponsor on the show. That's one company I would definitely, extend the hand out and do the handshake and sign the papers and whatnot. Like would be a company I would love to have a sponsor here. Really love it. It would be a very good beer. By the way, too, they're America's oldest brewery too. So located in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Never been there before, but would always this place that I always want to visit. Okay, got the transfer portal segment here. First of all, I'm going to burp there, and then I'll make sure I have is this the right year. Okay, transfer portal update. Got a little news and stuff to talk about. Not many changes, if you will, but there's some things to talk about. Clearly, some movement I think will be coming. I think very soon. Especially for a couple of these that could be some pretty impactful players. There's a lot of things to talk about. A lot of certain teams are being impacted a little more than others, and we'll discuss that. Eric Singleton definitely can be in play here. He's a number overall player according to 247, 4-star. 4-star listed. There's no 5-star listed on here. At least to my knowledge, there's not one. But most of these guys are going to be 4-star rated players or 4-star valued. But number one overall player, Eric Singleton, clearly going to be an impactor, or a factor, not impactor. Well, impactor too. A factor for a lot of teams like Bama, Georgia specifically is going to be watch your local kid. Clearly, I think Georgia being play there. Deuce Robinson in the bowl. Deuce Robinson, former 5-star kid, wide receiver, tight end type. So he's 6'6", 220. So he's a little giant. He can probably play college basketball if he wanted to. Wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't play high school basketball. But he's in the portal. He entered in yesterday or a couple days ago. He is in. He's transferred from USC, and he's being in play for a lot of different teams. A lot of teams will be in play for him for sure. Some big tools probably. Ohio State, Bama, Georgia, some of your usual suspects. Auburn even could be in play there, especially if they're looking for a veteran wide receiver. That'll be one to look forward to. Talk about, or I mentioned Luke Cornhook the other day. I think there could be some places there for him to go to. Maybe particularly. How about this? This is interesting. So Jaheim Otis, who I thought was going to go to Ole Miss, but it surely looks like it. Does the crystal ball, according to 247, is now the Dallas Bears in Colorado. That Warren Sapp getting some work in there. Yeah, that's a huge there. KC Concepcion. I think Bama is in play here. Auburn clearly in play. Mike Hudson, Texas Tech. I think Texas A&M is in the mix here. That's still the case. I still feel like them, maybe Texas, for example, could also be in play. Murphy, by the way, I did visit or has visited 2 Auburn lists. He is He's going to be visiting them, I think, tomorrow. So that is a name that if you're an Auburn fan, I'll be paying attention to. Like Lee Murphy, by the way, if you don't remember, former quarterback at Texas, had the great spring game performance. Was in the portal initially. After that, this is like a couple years ago, or I think last year, didn't go in. Some teams in the Southeastern region were very, very tempted to lure him in. He didn't officially enter the database. He waited. Then he goes to Duke of all places. He hasn't been wins 9 games seriously. It's up that, right? Maybe he has Duke winning 9 games. Now he's in the portal, and Auburn is in play. Auburn is in play. They're hosting him. Anywhere he goes, whether it's Auburn, LSU. Now, by the way, LSU probably off the work. Here, Nussmeier is coming back apparently, so they're off. Miami will certainly be in play here. Whomever it's going to be, whether it's Miami, Auburn, some of these other schools that could be next for a quarterback, USC probably. Massive kid, very talented kid, dual threat kid, a good runner, run around. Really highly talented kid a couple years ago, and he's going to be highly valuable again wherever he goes to. It doesn't matter, which one or which place he goes to. He's going to be a very, very huge gift for them. Fernando Mendoza, remember him from California? He's supposedly on the move. He's getting somewhere. Again, Auburn next year, Miami, USC too, being a West Coast team that are not in the same conference anymore, and they're an ACC team. Connor Wegman going to Houston, no surprise there. That looked like that was going to be the case. Demira, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He is headed to Duke, so he is the replacement for Lane Murphy. So Lane Murphy is not coming back more likely. I think that's clear. Mencia, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I apologize for that. It's a kid from Tulane, a good quarterback. Again, another dual threat guy going over to Duke now. So that's a huge gift. Interested to see what John Summer do down there, and really have the Oregon quarterback there, Thompson, I believe, who is still there. Miller Moss still available. Looks like Louisville, maybe some other schools can play there in the ACC probably. Houston surprise there. Salter's still available. I think Auburn's probably going to be in the mix there, I think. Jackson Arnold's in the mix for Mississippi State probably. Seems like Mississippi State's probably in the place where I expect him to go. Him and Jeff Luddy have a good relationship there. Obviously, he's a former OC, so it's like, why not, right? And it makes too much sense. So Salter's available. I think Auburn might be in the mix. Maybe, but I don't think so. It definitely seems like Mike Murphy's going to be the guy that they're going after heavily. Him and maybe Jackson Arnold. Michael Van Buren Jr. is in the mix, or at least he's out. So that sort of somewhat confirms that Jackson Arnold's probably going to be on the move and moving. Jackson Arnold will probably be coming in. So that doesn't signal anything. Then what doesn't? Thomas Castellanos is going to Florida State. So that's been confirmed. He officially announced that a couple days ago. So he is a Florida State Seminole. Congratulations, Gus Malzahn and company, Mike Norvell. They're going to play. Gus Malzahn loves his running quarterbacks, and we've seen him, at Auburn or anywhere else try to use a pocket passer. Horribly or fantastically horrible. That's good. Sean Mike, Jeremy Johnson, to a certain extent. So he's going to do it for a quarterback. We'll see how it works. I don't know if it's going to work out or not. Chandler Morris, some other ones to mention. Chandler Morris is still out there. Chandler Morris' son was at Oklahoma. North Texas, now he's on the move again. Dylan Logrigan, Alabama transferring, so he's in the portal now. He's in the database. Anthony Clandria, we'll see here where we will see where he'll go. Be an interesting commodity there. Like Simon, go him. Ashton Daniels, Auburn, I think that's kind of obvious. Now he's going there. So they have a backup quarterback, very clearly. There's going to be other guys who will be in the mix. And another person who has turned into middles, other recent names, if you will. Riley Wilson from he's an edge guy. He's from, I believe, Montana State, I believe. That's where he's from. Tough. I thought State for a second, but it's not. So Riley Wilson, edge guy going in. Marquess Douglas, who's in the state tight end. Ikea Ragsdale from North Texas. I apologize for mispronouncing the name. Matthew Wyckoff from Cal. Interior offensive lineman's in the portal. Ronald, I'm not going to pronounce the name, but the kicker from Miami UNLV, not Miami of Ohio. He's in. Uh, this one is really interesting. So there's a couple other names that are on here, some of the recent additions. And the one that really sticks out is Malachi Nelson, the former number one overall player. Um, went to USC for a year. A lot of folks are very excited. He was the first round protected pick. This is 247. Gabe Brooks over there. He's really smart. Does a really good job there for the recruiting staff. First round projection. Jordan Love was sort of the new archetype he is, but has not panned out. Lost the job at US or lose the job at USC. Just transferred and left. Goes over to Boise State, battling Madison. Does win the starting job. And that kind of tells you, or at least back then, at least my thought was that kind of tells you what the staff thinks of him as a player. I really don't think he's that good. And now here he is leaving again, so I think that kind of tells you that at least from a 5-star perspective, he has not lived up to the potential. I'm fascinated to see where he goes. Could go anywhere. Could go even lower in the G5. Could go elsewhere. But yeah, very interesting story. I'm sad to see stuff falling apart for him in terms of where he was. Talking about Nelson being a 5-star kid and now being a 3-star player in the 247's transfer. So it's tough, very tough. Getting these quarterbacks. These guys, that's not always the case. That's not always going to be, perfect. But this kid, according to 247, 5-star kid, 99 overall. Now he's down to 3 stars. The fall from grace for now Malachi Nelson has been pretty stunning to watch. Pretty dark. So, yeah, some big names in the portal. Names that I'm keeping an eye on. Again, for Auburn, seems like Murphy's probably going to be your guy. Ashton Daniels, again, as a backup, not your starter. He's your backup, probably, more than likely. But he's probably going to be Auburn. It seems like that's official. Some other names, too, will be cleared out. But, yeah, portal, very good. And, a lot of new names being added in every single hour, if you will. And by the time I'm done doing this episode recording, it could be mornings going in. So how about that? As we sort of transition from that to the more Marvel Star Wars news here a little bit, college football stuff's mostly done for the moment, at least for this show, for this episode. But if you're new here, welcome in, by the way. Subscribe if you are. If you have not, make sure you do so. Click the bell for notifications if you want to. It's not required. But very minimum, just subscribe. Podcast, same thing. I know we're behind on Spotify. We'll catch up here the next day or so. It's very tough having me just being the, wearing all the hats here, the CEO, I'm my own HR person too. So, I wear all the hats here. So it's very tough doing this on my own. So we'll work out the Spotify stuff here shortly, probably once we're done here. But yeah, if you're new to here, just subscribe. That's all we ask for. Again, nothing happens to you. We don't do anything to you. We don't send you emails or call your phone or knock on your door like, hey, sign up on this form here. Give this money. Not required at all. It's all we're requiring you. Subscribe. That's all we need. That's all we'll ever need. Got some Marvel news here to talk about. One little thing here. Wasn't to talk about the Craven stuff. By the way, some of the reviews for Craven, ugh, it was gross. I know some stuff that's come out that the Sony Spider-Man spin-off universe is probably over, so it's probably dead. So it's quote-unquote Jover. So, R.I.P. the Sony Spider-Man universe. So, probably for the best. It's probably done now. This could have some ramifications there. I'm just saying, it could. Not saying they're losing their Spider-Man license, but there's some chatter out there from very reputable people that there might be some changes coming there. At least some of the way they handle Spider-Man. And by the way, they cannot lose the Spider-Man license. That's a very, very different topic there about, if Sony would ever lose a Spider-Man license and because of the contract, or they have to make a movie every 5 years or so. And if they were to ever, Sony, not the total company, but the movie studio, if they were to ever lose Spider-Man, the Spider-Man character, the studio would fold in 5 years. Like that's always been the worry there, that they were going to lose the rights to them, at least the whole catalog of characters, that it'll be very, very bad. So it's in their best interest to keep the Spider-Man character around. Hopefully they figure this stuff out. But yeah, there's some chatter there, and of course the Craven numbers, like Rotten Tomatoes, has like a 9%. So that was the last time I saw it. So For all intents and purposes, it's been a very, very bad year for very bad couple of years for Sony. So, and particularly this year, it's been historically bad. So, some of the worst comic movies have been produced by them recently, and not just them either. Marvel's had some bad ones too. So speaking of Marvel, Chris Evans recently came back and took home Wolverine as his version of Johnny Storm, Human Torch. He's apparently coming back in Doomsday. Now, here's what's interesting. So I think a lot of folks are confused on this. That clearly him coming back could be in multiple things. Some people brought up, oh, he's come back as Human Torch again, maybe another version of him. Doubt that. They've already done that in Deadpool Wolverine, which was done perfectly, by the way. I do think he's coming back as a variant of Captain America. No, I see a variant because I think that, and there's some credible rumors here, like, for example, Josh over at Dead Nerds has been hammering on the fact that it isn't just him, he's been reporting it there, but some other scoopers and the Twitter insiders and whatnot have been referring to this idea of, RDJ's version of Doctor Doom that's coming in during Doomsday and Secret Wars. How he might be building up his own version of Dark Avengers, which is something that's been for at least a couple of months now. At least something that's been on the table for Marvel. But not even just that. Like, there's been rumors for a long time of, and even going back to Secret Wars, which, by the way, I'll go back to that. This whole thing about Chris Evans coming back. It's not a shock that he's coming back. Right? We all knew with this multiverse stuff, the Secret Wars coming, that eventually we would get a lot of these legacy characters coming back who ended up leaving something like, Iron Man, Tony Stark, Scarlett Johansson coming back, and she'll probably be back eventually. This I think. I know there's been stuff about her over the past couple of years that they're not been on the best of terms, and now she's doing Jurassic Park or Jurassic World or the Jurassic Park movie she's doing now, and she's busy with that. But she'll be back. A couple offers, I guess. Maybe Jeremy Renner. I know he got in that really bad accident a couple years ago, almost died too. But he's still alive. I think he's recovered for the most part. But the whole thinking was if Secret Wars and this multiverse stuff that you were going to get some of these legacy characters and actors coming back, which is not a surprise. And the rumors for a long time was that you would get a lot of these people to come back for Doomsday. I mean, not Doomsday, for Secret Wars. Now, for the King Dynasty, when it was called that, when Josh Majors was still king, not anymore. Obviously, now they've made necessary changes because of that. The plan originally, when the movie was going to be focused on, Kang and fighting the Avengers, that movie was just going to be that. It was going to be Kang versus the Avengers that we would have established now. So it'd be like Sam Wilson, Captain America, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Shuri, Black Panther, Professor Hulk, those characters, right? Now that's changed, right? The plans have changed. Now it's Doomsday now. Now they're bringing in Doctor Doom now. So this report comes out from I believe it was the Wrap about, Chris Evans is coming back for Doomsday. I think Josh over at Dan Nerds is pointing this out. This is different. This is the part that's different. Not the part that's different isn't that Chris Evans is coming back. That's something we have always been speculating for a long time with the multiverse stuff that he would eventually be back. The plan wasn't for them to come back for any of this multiverse stuff to be dealt with in the first the movie before Secret Wars. It was always supposed to be the new Avengers, the current Avengers team versus the Council of Kings, which is obviously not anymore. So this report comes out that Chris Evans is coming back as some role. We're assuming probably a Captain America variant, which was never the plan. That was never that was never in the original plan. So that has changed. The change is not Chris Evans coming back. The change is him being in Doomsday, him being in Secret Wars, all these legacy characters come back. That was always on the table. This was not. This is definitely new. So what Josh from Nerds has been pointing out, and other people, comic book nerds like myself, have pointed out, is that this could mean, if the rumors are true, that this version of our new we're going to get is building his own version of, his, sort of like how Thanos and, Infinity War and Endgame had like the Black Order. The thinking out there is that what if Dark Doom is doing the same thing? What if he is building his own version of like Dark Avengers? And, we're going to get these, evil versions of these characters, like a Maestro Hulk, an evil version of, I guess, Black Widow, like a super Russian Soviet version, I guess, or like an evil Hawkeye or an evil version of Captain America. It's on the table. Then there's this other rumor that's been around for a long time of the Hydra version of Captain America, which is in the comics, by the way, too. Very controversial, by the way, apparently. A Hydra version of Captain America, especially after, an in-game where, and when they go back to 2012 during the events of the original Avengers, and you have the main version of Steve Rogers goes and whispers to Brock Rumlow saying, Hell Hydra and whatnot. I think it'll sound these Shield agents were the Hydra guys and whatnot. Them recreating the scene from Winter Soldier. After that moment, a lot of people speculated, it'd be really cool if we pay that off and there was like evil, Hydra. Yeah, I guess like an evil version of Captain America. That rumor's around for a long time. So now it seems like, there was also reports going around from Multiverse Madness. There were original plans to maybe introduce, Hydra Captain America, just like the evil version of them. But they're doing that very much so. It seems like that's on the cards here. And I agree with Josh over there, Nerds, that I think in the coming months that we are, because again, this movie is going to start shooting here, I think pretty soon. I think it's going to be shooting in the spring. So it's going to be not too much longer that we're going to start getting more and more leaks and some set photos and whatnot. And the movie's coming out, getting close to now a year. So it'll be coming out in 2026. It'll be, they'll be they're in pre-production now. We're going to start shooting here, I think, pretty soon. If not, at least next summer. So it's not going to be too much. It won't be too much longer. We will be getting more information, more leaks, and probably some more information coming out. But yeah, Chris Evans come back. Probably evil version of Captain America. I haven't done it before. That's what they're going to do. This evil version of the Avengers versus the current roster, and that's, I can tell you, that is something. Again, I don't folks hate multiverse stuff, and I understand it, but at least I understand that you feel that way. But I don't feel that way. I've always felt very excited about this. I've always felt like, doing the multiverse stuff, you can do some cool stuff. I just don't think Marvel has been doing it properly. I think they've really been very conservative with it. I don't think they've been really heavily leaning into it. I think Loki and Deadpool and Wolverine have been the two. I guess those two and Spider-Man have been the best taste of what we've gotten of the multiverse. Madness, not so much. The title's misleading in my opinion. Probably should never have been titled that to begin with, because there's really no multiverse in that, just like a little bit for like 30 minutes. But Deadpool, Loki, and Spider-Man have had the best taste of what multiverse could be, what it could have been. But it seems like Marvel's going all into it. They're really hammering it in now. They're bringing back legacy characters and a lot of rumors about how they're going to handle Battle World and what other variants will be appearing and not. So, yeah, this Chris Evans, again, him coming back is not the change, or at least not the surprise. The surprise is where he's, the fact that he's going to be showing up, or at least he'll be playing a role in Doomsday, which was never the case in the King Dynasty. So that's a big deal for Marvel, and that's, again, not necessarily him coming back, but appearing a character that he'll be playing is going to be showing up in Doomsday was not in the original card. It being the King Dynasty, so it's changed a lot, but yeah, fascinating. They're very excited there. So that's some Marvel news and some other smaller stuff that's been out there. Like, for example, this Mystery of Hulk movie, which, look, I do think there's some credence to that. But I think there's some, it's a game of telephone, right? With, it's, you're hearing some stuff, but then someone else tells you it's translated in a different way. But I'll just keep an eye on that. There's been Josh over them Nerds, by the way, a good source for Marvel news and stuff, and theories. He's been on top of it. I don't necessarily blame him for getting excited about it. I would like them to do some better stuff for the Hulk. If it is Maestro Hulk or a Hulk movie with him involved, that would be cool. But I don't know if there's any hard evidence of that yet. I know Jeff Snyder is the big Hollywood insider at the film worker. He's mentioned that a little bit, some Hulk stuff, but to what extent does he mean by that? I don't know. Speculate on that. We're going to go to that here, but Chris Evans stuff, though, that's a change. Him coming back, it's just where he's appearing in. That's a change. Got some Star Wars news here. Got some Mandalorian news as well that we are going to cover here in just a second. We get some water here real quick and make sure the voice survives here. So we'll be back here in just a second. Audio's not clicking out. Everything's fine. I'm just gonna get some water real quick here and make sure the voice survives. Okay, I think we're going to be fine. I think we have some Star Wars news here, and then we'll get into the Buccaneers Chargers game here in just a minute. First of all, thoughts on Skeleton Crew episode 3. Thought it was solid, interesting to say the least. That's all I can really say about it. It's interesting. I think the dynamics, especially with like the child actors and Jude Law, has definitely gotten a lot better. I will say this though, one of the more interesting developments that is interesting, this whole mystery of like the home planet from where all the kids are from. Of course, it gets mentioned, and I didn't realize this until I just realized it a couple of days ago that in the very first episode, when like the kids and they take over the spaceship, the Onyx Cinder, I believe what the official name is, according to the said that's the official name. I don't recall it being called that in the actual show. I think it was. I don't still remember. It's been a few days. There's been a lot going on in my life. Just been busy with stuff. But when they're leaving on the ship, they're going on the space. They mentioned they've never been to space before. I didn't realize that to begin with. I'm like, okay, that's strange. Why did they not know stars and stuff exist? And they bring up that, at least in the episode, that I can get this written on my notes here, that the planet that they're on is among a series of legendary planets that have protected themselves of a barrier, which prevents them from seeing space. So that's interesting. So I wonder, what does that mean? Does that plan anything that Thrawn's going to do? Does that have any significance of this, Filoni movie that's coming out and the Thrawn stuff? Does that have any tie-ins to that? I don't know. I still think my theory about, with Thrawn coming in, running around the galaxy, and we saw that in Mando season 3, and now we're seeing it now in this show. Maybe Thrawn coming in and sort of viewing it or sort of portraying himself as the hero and, expose the New Republic for being disorganized. I still think that's the plan, or at least that's the general plan I think at least we're going to go with, or not. I think that's going to play out more in this. I think that's why they're doing the show. But, yeah, I thought the episode was pretty good. Still getting used to the whole, different feel, different vibe to it. But, you have no problems with the show yet, man. I think it's a fairly decent show so far. Again, I think the 7 out of 10 rating, I think it's pretty accurate, or at least still consistent. I'm not going to change or anything. I still at this point, I think it's probably, a 7.5 is probably pretty much what I'll have it still. But that's not even the biggest news that's come out. So this is something from Jeff Steiner on his website. And this is something that I believe was contributed to with the other Hollywood trades that Jeremy Allen White, who I don't know who this guy is. Apparently he's in the series, I believe. Double check that. I believe that's where he's from. I should have done my research on this, but I didn't. So I believe he is, the Bears and some other smaller stuff. He's mainly a TV actor, it seems like. So that's interesting. I don't think he's in a lot of major movie stuff. But apparently he is going to be on this Mandalorian movie, which, by the way, the title, in my opinion, is kind of weird, but whatever. By the way, too, there's another casting news before you get to this guy playing the Imperial Warlord from the Mandalorian Season 2, the Shadow Council, who, was with Pop getting in when the last couple episodes when they, we see, Captain Pelion from the Bucs, and he was in Rebels too as a voice, by the way, and we get the Shadow Council, and they sort of a bit of a tease for the Ahsoka series, and now everyone's back now. So one of the actors from that Shadow Council scene is coming back, actually, which would explain why in the late D23 footage, why we see Mando and Grogu are going against snowtroopers. So I'm guessing that's who that's with, or that world is in charge of that area, that base or whatever. So that's kind of cool, and also kind of sort of believe we're going to see at the very least a mention of Thrawn, or at least a cameo of him in a post-credit scene or something. Obviously, in the main galaxy, so I don't know. At least in the timeline when this is taking place, if it's after Ahsoka or during it, so I don't know. But clearly, it's the more Thrawn Imperial Remnant stuff, Heirs and Empire stuff is really playing a role here. But what is interesting, what is not something I had on my bingo card, at least, is that this Jeremy Allen White guy now. I don't know how much credence is to it. Like I don't. Again, I trust Jeff Snyder, but this is I mentioned this on Twitter. I did the whole Josh paid me, but this isn't the flex you think it is. He's playing Rod in the Hut. Now, if you're a casual fan of Star Wars, you don't know if you haven't watched like the Clone Wars and stuff like me and the Sicko, then you probably don't know who this is. You're like, okay, it's some random Hut character. It's like the one we saw in Boba Fett, whatever. Well, that's not who he is. Rod in the Hut is a character who was introduced in the Clone Wars movie. I remember seeing it when I was in, I think, kindergarten. I was pretty young, and so I grew up watching the show, like most of you my age, and at least Star Wars fans my age. And grew up watching the show. I remember him in the first movie. It's probably one movie. I know a lot of folks don't like it, and like it's not a good movie, but I think over time, I think a lot of folks have appreciated it a little bit more. But it's still not a good movie. It's probably it's the one a lot of the general folks have forgotten about it. I still have a soft place for it. It's pretty nostalgic for me because it sort of got me into watching the Clone Wars show and whatnot. Of course, it was originally supposed to be the first 3 episodes, and they just zombified into an actual movie. And probably should have never done that, but I guess it worked out. But yeah, so he is playing Rod in the Hut, the son of Jabba the Hutt. Debuted in Clone Wars, appeared in several episodes after, I believe. He was in a couple of them. I don't know what this means. I don't know if it's like a voiceover role. I don't know what it means. I guess this guy's gonna be doing the voice or not. I don't know. But one of Jeff Snyder and some of the other big Hollywood trades, they're doing it. So I have no idea what this means. Again, I'm sure this guy's a good actor. I'm assuming he's going to do like the motion capture voice stuff. I'm pretty sure they're not going to make this guy like a half, like a half human hot hybrid. Because like in the Clone Wars show, he's very much so a Hutt. He's a alien slug guy. So I don't know how to describe him. He's a Hutt. He's a big fat alien. If you ever watched Star Wars before, I don't know what to tell you, but that's what a Hutt is, right? So he's a big fat slime creature. So I guess they're going to do that. I mean, that makes sense, kind of. I mean, if you're some rumors have also true about them bringing back supposedly Ming Mullen, who plays Finnick, and Boba are supposedly could be appearing too. That's some other rumors are going around too. So if they're doing that and they're finally addressing why Broda wasn't involved with Boba taking over Jabba's palace, makes sense that they're finally addressing that. So maybe that's why they're bringing him in and they're sort of capping off the Book of Boba Fett Mandalorian stuff a little bit. Again, I don't know really how to react to this. It's cool to bring the character back. It's kind of interesting they're bringing in such a high-profile TV actor, especially with Bear, which I've never seen a second of the show, but I've heard it's good. So okay. Some of our cast too. We have Sigourney Weaver, who was in the Alien movies. I don't know who she's playing now. I've heard, and this is something I wonder here. And this is just me speculating here. It's not me indicating or insinuating anything, but it is interesting that Katie Sackhoff, who plays Bo-Katan, is not on the casting list. It's weird to me. There's no indications he's been on set. There's no indication that she is not, the show. I mean, I follow her on some of her personal social media accounts. I'm assuming she's never indicated she's in the movie. She's never insinuated anything. So my worry here is that since Sigourney Weaver, and she's a big actress, right? She was in Alien movies, I believe. That double check here. Going to, I'm pretty sure she was in there, right? I would imagine. Yes, she was in there. She was Ripley, yeah. So my fear is that she might be playing Bo-Katan. There might have been a recast. Again, I'm not insinuating anything. I think it's weird how you cast someone like Sigourney Weaver and she's in the right age, right? I think she is. Well, actually, she's a little bit older, but it's like I don't know. Maybe it doesn't work out, but it's kind of weird how we haven't heard anything about Katie Sackhoff being in the show, the movie, and now Sigourney Weaver's in there, and some folks have speculated that. At least some of the folks who've on Twitter and whatnot and Reddit have thought it's kind of weird, and people thought, oh, maybe they're bringing in Sigourney Weaver just because it's a high profile actress, and maybe the age doesn't work out. I don't know. In general, it's kind of weird, and hopefully I'm kind of wrong on that. Baseless speculation here about some of the cast here, but hopefully, hopefully Katie's in the movie. I think she might be in the movie again. If she is, she's doing a really good job of keeping it secret. But there has been no indication of her. At least if I'm just dumb and I've not been paying attention to this, especially in the past couple of months of like college sports stuff. We'll check here because I've not heard anything about her being in the movie, so I don't know if that is true or not. That's true. Research here on the fly. Google search. Yeah, she's not. She hasn't really said denied or confirmed or denied. I think she will be, but that's kind of strange. She has not mentioned anything about being in the movie. So that's got me a little bit more worried of in a recast. You're going a little bit different direction of the character. I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to. Again, like I said, like I mentioned, Sigourney Weaver being a recast of for speculation. I don't think they're going to go that route, but that's just my maybe they decided maybe she was a different route. Maybe just recast the character and move on. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Usually, I'm just speculation right there, but that's just something I'm thinking about. What if that is the case? Because I'd be kind of cool if they were to bring in a lot of these, TV actors into the actual movies, which it seems like they're going to, right? Pedro Pascal doing the voice, not actually wearing the Mando costume. I don't think they're going to. They are. Unless he was able to sneak in there after doing Fantastic Four. But yeah, I mean, I just I don't know. I mean, it's kind of interesting, that Katie's not been mentioned for the movie. She's not really been a big actress, so that maybe the reason why they would do a recast. But I'm not insinuating anything. I'm not telling you anything that's not true. It's just speculation on my point. Theorizing here, but I don't think so. Really don't believe they would do that, but they could. So that again is just some baseless speculation there. We are live here at 4:19. By the way, that'd be 4:20. How about that? But yeah, so that's the Star Wars news there. Again, fought Skeleton Crew. Decent episode. Again, I think this show has been solid so far. Wednesday has been, overtaking the world by firing thing, but it's been fine or whatnot for the most part. But yeah, that's it for the Star Wars news there, and that's going to be it for at least the Star Wars Marvel comfortable stuff, and we'll move on to the NFL stuff, which is just fucking NFL fan. If you're not an NFL fan, I'll see you guys on Tuesday, unless some other big breaking news thing happens. We'll do an extra podcast, but more likely I'll see you guys on Tuesday again next week. College football, playoff stuff. So again, if you're a college football fan, if you're not an NFL in general, you can probably leave now or exit out the video or do off the podcast. But it's not technically over yet, but if you leave, I understand why. But I'm gonna have a drink of water here, and then we'll move on. All right. I think we're ready to go here. All right. Bucs Chargers. That's the 4:25 game, if I recall. Yeah, the 4:25 game against the Los Angeles Chargers. Jim Harbaugh led Los Angeles Chargers. How about that, right? What's up with that? The Chargers opened up, by the way, as a 3.5 or a 3-point favorite, according to FanDuel. By the way, a little disclaimer here. I know we haven't done this, but when I haven't really done much this week, games to preview. FanDuel, by the way, I just like their sports. I don't know. Florida, they're not the only one that's available here or Hard Rock. So it's a shame, but unfortunately, our friends in Tallahassee don't want us to do that because of the legislation, the legal stuff. So again, generically, FanDuel is a good site to look at the spreads or anything. If you're in a state where FanDuel is available, I recommend using them. Someone who is big into not necessarily someone who's big into actually doing the sports betting or whatnot. And again, this show is not a sports betting show. I don't expect you guys to be watching CNN Money Mornings show or whatever that should be called or whatever. My son who's a sports bettor, stock stock investment person. I don't do that type of stuff. I don't do that stuff, but yeah, people will use it for kicking purposes, not necessarily a sports betting show. But again, if you want to, yeah, if you don't want to, you don't have to either. So it's up to you to do that. But Bucs Chargers play. This game I have some concern with. Chargers again, 3 favorite, makes sense home field advantage if there is home field. Now, granted, from what I have seen, a little bit of the Chargers games at home, there has been a significant upgrade on the crowd level there. So can't necessarily say that. We see how many Tampa fans make it out there. I'm sure it'll be a decent crowd, probably more of a neutral side, probably. Um, to be fair here, I have seen the Chargers play in person. Back in September when they played Panthers. There was some look ahead scouting it. I've seen both teams in person. So if you're a Bucs fan, you've not seen the Chargers a lot this year. So of their appearances on Sunday Night Football and on Monday night. The team is very much so a classic Jim Harbaugh team. If you're a college football fan, you remember the Harbaugh teams at Michigan. They're very much so like that. Game control, ball control, run the football, play good defense, physical defense. You know, that Jesse Minter guy over in LA Chargers probably going to get a head coaching job at some point. I do not expect him to return there. That's just what I've heard from people who are associated with the Chargers team or have an interest in them. That's why I've heard there's some concern there. And this is the best defense Tampa has faced all year. But this is also the best defensive line the Chargers have played against. The Chargers offensively, I have joked about them being a team that is sort of like the putt-putt offense type team where they don't really do a whole lot that is really fly off your TV screen or like make you really pay attention. It's not a fun offense to watch. It's a pretty boring offense, which is by design against Jim Harbaugh, ball control, run the football, run the clock down, make sure the other team doesn't get the ball and take the lead. But I think the Chargers in general, just what I've seen, very, very small sample size, they do well with a lead when they get the lead and they hold on to it. They don't do very well when they don't have a lead. They're a type of team where they really require a lead to be had early, and they just have to, hope they control the ball long enough, they limit possessions of every team, and they win. That's how the Chargers win this game. They do it. It's ball control. They get an early lead. Maybe Baker turns the ball over again or something, which has been a problem for them. As I've been watching, I've been noting past few shows, it's been an issue, and now I think Baker's looks like third in the league or fourth in the league in interceptions, so he's up there with like Kirk Cousins and Mahomes, I believe. But that's a concern. Ball control again. That's what Jim Harbaugh teams do, and if they get a lead, they insinuate on keeping the lead and in the clock. So if they win this weekend, that's what they're going to do. If Tampa were to win this game, if there is certainly a path there, it's Baker having a good game, letting him kill the offense, having a big bounce back game, some younger receivers or at least newer receivers up there. The guy's been on the team for a while. Bruce Collins, who's not playing for the rest of the year, or at least the rest of the season. Of course, Mike Evans has to have a big game. Sterling Shepard. I'm too confused, but Russell Shepard, different guy. That's a former LSU receiver. Sterling Shepard has to have a big game. He's been actually very pleasant surprise as a Bucs fan. I'm very pleasant to see him. Very pleasant surprise to see him getting a lot of touches. Obviously, because Chris is down, he's having to play a lot more. McMillan, wide receiver, who was with Canada Moore in Washington last year, drafted him first round, or at least not first round, like third or second round. Been good. Having a good year. Trey Palmer taking that a decent year, so those guys have to step up. New York continue to step up. I think where this game is going to be decided, it's going to be Baker limiting the turnovers. If you can do that, had a problem with that past couple of weeks. Past 2 weeks has been four interceptions combined. I think 5 turnovers. He lost a fumble last week. The offensive line has got to step up a little bit. I think Kristen Warf's had a really bad year this year. His worst year so far in the league. Some of it's probably just age. It's been 5 years, so it's been pretty. He's been consistent for the past 4 years, but I don't know why. But this year has not been good for him. He struggled. I think the run blocking is going to be pretty good. Bucky Irving, hopefully he'll be ready to go this weekend. Obviously, Rashard White's been our starter for the entire year. Of course, you still have Sean Tucker. But I think where this game's been decided, where I think Tampa has a much more advantage versus LA, is the defensive line for Tampa versus the offensive line for the Chargers. The offensive line for the Chargers, from what I have seen, has been at least average to at least below average. There's some guys on there, from what I have seen, and some other people I've talked to, who are not good. I think the Pipkins kid, or whatever his name is, the Pipkins guy, is not supposedly he's been pretty bad, at least consistently over the past couple years since he's been there. I know they have a really good offensive lineman that they drafted in the draft. The Joel kid has been good, the rookie, so which could be a challenge, but he's going against the best defensive line he has faced in his entire NFL career. Yeah, it's Vita Vea, Kalijah Kancey. Line has been very, very steady so far with Devontae. I think that's the difference. It's the Chargers line versus the Tampa defensive line, our defensive line, and I just like the matchup a lot better. I think Tampa can do some stuff. I think Vita Vea has had a very good year. He's been very good. He's the best defensive lineman in the NFL so far, period. I think he's the best. That sounds like a bit of homerism, but even just generically, I was looking at Tampa from a 50,000-foot perspective. I would go, yeah, Vita Vea is like, top 10, top 5 D lineman in the NFL. He's very good. Kalijah Kancey's a young guy, getting a lot better. Finally being able to have some consistency there. He was injured a lot last year. Of course, the linebacker group. Secondary is still a concern, but the Chargers receivers don't scare me. That is the one position in real does not really necessarily put fear of confidence. Like Quinn Johnson's been better. Joshua Palmer's the two Palmers, not related, but two receivers in this game that are named Palmer in our both teams. Of course, they're going against a really decent quarterback in Justin Herbert. I know a lot of folks have been complaining about him, and certainly I have privately about him having not the best statistical year, but he is winning games, so I give him credit is due. But personally, I don't really see Justin Herbert as like a great all-time elite quarterback. Now, granted, he's been good, but he's had a couple games in his career where he's not played very well, and of course, he's very prone. And I think, again, unfortunately to his offensive line, he probably going to get killed. I think the Tampa D line should have some success there. Of course, I can say that, and I can be totally wrong on that, but not been totally impressed with Justin Herbert this year in terms of the statistical stuff. But of course, everyone's going to bring up the whole winning stats. A lot of people are going to say, "Oh man, Justin Herbert deserves 5 MVPs for what he's doing." Having to go for, oh good, I got water for my first today. That's great. Want everyone to get MVP then, so Baker should get MVP too. With Jameis should get one too because he threw 30 touchdowns and threw 30 picks in 2019 with the bad quarterback play too, and ball back coaching before that. Anyways, I never really understood the Justin Herbert defending. I'm sure some of it was from the Charger fans that are very number of them too, by the way. At least from what I have seen now. Like I said, they've done a lot better at the stadium, and there's a little more fans there. So there is a home field advantage now this year. But I don't know. It's never been a big Justin Herbert fan. Now it's like I think guys everything than Justin, at least to a certain extent. Like Joe Burrow, I think it's just statistically been a lot better. You make argument that Dak Prescott, entire career has been a lot better. But again, I mean, the whole quarterback room, of course, throw out guys like Josh Allen. But Herbert, he's definitely a talented quarterback. He's a good quarterback. Not only he's good, if not elite, but that's a tough test for him. This is the last game on the schedule that I have concerns about. And again, not to mention the travel stuff too. So I believe, if I recall, this is our Tampa's first time going out west. I believe it is, for the most part, it is the first time we have gone past Rocky Mountains. So it'll be a test. Going out there, the body clock stuff, it's a early game. Pacific time, late game here. So technically it's a 1:25. It's actually a 4 o'clock here. But that part's difficult. The travel aspect can be difficult. But I'm gonna go on a limb here. I think Tampa will win the game, and I do think they will recover a little bit. I just don't think this Charger team, again, from what I've seen and from what I've heard, they don't have the pieces they need to win there now, but they've been winning in spite of it. So I will give Jim Harbaugh credit where credit's due. But I just don't think, and sort of like how I was talking about with Dan Quinn and Washington at the beginning of the year, they didn't have pieces they needed to be successful, to at least have the team they want. And I think you can say that about the Chargers. They don't have necessarily pieces on offense yet to be where they want to be. I think more of a part of the offensive line. I think Tampa's D line versus the Chargers O line advantage Tampa. Again, I know that sounds like homerism. It probably is homerism. It is homerism, but I think that's the difference in the game. I think Tampa wins. I think it's a very slight cover. Not saying they win by 20 plus points. I think it's like 7 points, 6 points, 5 points. That is a cover, and I think they do so. And I think they win the game. And they go to 8-6, and the rest of the schedule is at Dallas on Sunday night. So that's back to my road games. You're gonna like that necessarily, but they get rewarded with Panthers at home at CBS, and then again, I'll be going to the Saints game on probably January 5th. I don't think it'll be a Saturday game. I don't think it'll be a meaningful game. Hey, it would be kind of cool though if it was a Sunday night game. How about that? But, who knows? It's to be determined, to be announced. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Chargers game. By the way, too, Tampa has the currently the third longest in the NFL. How about that? Like, I think it's like now. Obviously, the Chiefs and the Steelers, I guess. Yeah, the Steelers, I guess, would have another streak, maybe. The other team I'll probably put out there. But, yeah, that's going to be going for, 30 minutes. Definitely a longer duration. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you are tuning in, again, if you're listening to the replay, make sure you subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast feed, and make sure to get the Spotify fixed up with the shows being uploaded. But for me, that's all I have. That's got a burp there, but because I didn't have to. So yeah, on the show here. So until Tuesday, same time probably, but until Tuesday, take care. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Army and Navy. By the way, that is going on this weekend, so I'll be watching along with you guys, and then we'll have playoff predictions next week, and probably more portal news and more coaching searches news or whatever, more coaching movement, because there is now jobs open now. Like for example, the Jacksonville State jobs open. So get your resumes and get your Indeed account, Indeed, Monster, whatever job searching website services you use. Get those accounts ready and get your resumes ready, kids. So start applying accordingly. But until Tuesday, enjoy the game this weekend, Army Navy. Heisman Trophy ceremony, by the way, this weekend. I have no thoughts on it. Whoever wins it, wins it. I don't really care. I don't do that type of stuff. So yeah, enjoy the game this weekend. Enjoy the NFL games too. Until then, I know there's the big and Detroit Bills game. Even though I'm not going to preview it, that's a game I am fascinated to at least keep an eye on this weekend. But anyways, and take care, guys. See you guys on Tuesday. So have a good weekend, folks.